What would you do if your enemies slaughtered your people, took your land, and defiled your holy sites? Would you seek revenge? Would you show no mercy? Or would you do something no one expected? I was faced with this choice, and my decision shaped history forever. I am Saladin, and by the end of this you will know why the world still remembers my name. I was born in Tikrit, a city along the Tigris River in present-day Iraq, a land of warriors and poets, where history was written in the blood of empires. My father, Ayub, was a governor under the Zangid dynasty, a ruling family that controlled parts of Syria and Iraq. The Zangids were one of the strongest forces resisting the Crusaders, and they sought to unite Muslim lands against European invaders. A man of strategy and leadership. My family, the Ayyubids, descended from Kurdish roots, and we were raised with a sense of honor, discipline, and duty to the Muslim world. My childhood was not spent in the safety of palaces, but in the shadow of great men, leaders, scholars, warriors. I was a quiet child, more drawn to books than to battle. I studied philosophy, poetry, and the Quran. I admired the wisdom of scholars and the discipline of soldiers, but I did not seek war. War, however, had already chosen me. There was a city, Jerusalem, a city sacred to my people, a city that had been taken nearly a century before by a foreign force, the Crusaders. The Crusaders were warriors from Europe. They came to the lands of Islam under the banner of their faith, Christianity, claiming they had the right to rule over our lands. In 1099, they captured Jerusalem in a brutal siege, slaughtering thousands, men, women, and children. For nearly a century, they ruled this city, building castles, establishing kingdoms, and treating the land as if it were their own. But it was not theirs, and I would not allow them to keep it. I did not seek war. I was not the son of a warlord, raised with a sword in my hand. My father was a governor. My life was meant for books, not battle. But destiny does not ask what we desire. It demands what must be done. Nur ad-Din saw something in me that I had not yet seen in myself. A leader, a unifier, a man who could do what others could not. And when duty called, I could not turn away. If I did not rise, who would? As a young man, I served under my uncle, the great Nur ad-Din, and I learned the art of war. Not just how to swing a sword, but how to wield power without losing oneself to it. I fought my first battles not out of hatred, but out of duty. But war is not only fought with swords. It is fought with strategy, with patience, with alliances. I learned that to defeat an enemy you must first understand them. And so, I studied the Crusaders, not just their weapons and tactics, but their faith, their culture, their ambitions. When fate placed me upon the throne of Egypt and Syria, it was not by chance, but through a chain of events that began when I was sent to Egypt on a mission. At the time, Egypt was ruled by the Fatimid Caliphate, a powerful Islamic dynasty that followed the Shia sect of Islam, while my own leaders, the Zangids, followed Sunni Islam. I was sent as an advisor, but after proving myself in battle, I was made Vizier of Egypt, a title that meant I was the highest-ranking official, second only to the Fatimid Caliph himself. However, I soon abolished the Fatimid rule, bringing Egypt under Sunni leadership. When my mentor, Nur ad-Din, died, I seized the moment, taking control of Syria as well. From that moment, I was no longer a servant. I was a ruler in my own right. I knew what had to be done. The Muslim world was divided, broken, I spent years uniting the fractured states, forging an army strong enough to reclaim what was lost. My name became known in every court, feared in every battle. But I was not feared for cruelty. I was feared for my resolve. I built an empire not through force alone, but through diplomacy. I made alliances where others sought enemies. I listened when others commanded. I spared when others would kill. And that made me dangerous, because I understood the power of unity. Power changes men, but I did not allow it to change me. I lived simply, rejecting luxury despite ruling over vast lands. While other rulers draped themselves in silk, I chose modest robes. While kings feasted on lavish meals, I ate dates and bread, the food of my people. Discipline guided my life. I rose before the sun, prayed and strategized. I trained with my soldiers, ate among them, fought beside them. I demanded nothing of my men that I would not demand of myself. And when the time for war came, I rode at the front, not behind. I was not untouchable. I was not above those I led. I was one of them. Unlike many rulers, I did not indulge in excess, nor did I amass great personal wealth. Though I married and had children, my true devotion was always to my faith and my people. My sons would later carry on the Ayyubid dynasty, ruling over lands I had once united. But I did not raise them as kings, I raised them as servants to their people as I had always been. When I died, I left behind no great riches, no hoarded gold, only a legacy. I ruled an empire, yet my funeral was paid for with borrowed money. That is how I lived, and that is how I left this world. In 1187, the time had come. The armies of the Crusaders, led by King Guy of Jerusalem, stood before me at the horns of Hattin. But battles are not won in a single day. They are won through preparation, through patience. I weakened them before they even saw my army. I cut off their supply lines. I ensured they had no water, no reinforcements, no escape. And then, when they were desperate and broken by the heat of the desert, I struck. Under the scorching sun, I crushed them. The mighty Knights Templar, the warlords of Europe, fell before me. With that victory, Jerusalem lay within my grasp. So many called for blood. Slaughter them as they slaughtered us. Show them no mercy. But I was not like them. I did not seek vengeance. I sought justice. I remembered the teachings of the Quran. If you pardon and overlook and forgive, then indeed Allah is forgiving and merciful. When I entered Jerusalem, there was no massacre, no destruction, no rivers of blood. I granted safe passage to those who wished to leave. I restored the city to its people, to its faiths. Even the enemy chroniclers could not deny the truth. I had done what no conqueror before me had done. And so, the world learned my name. Not as a butcher, but as a ruler of honor. My victories did not just reclaim land, they reshaped history. I took back Jerusalem, but I did not take vengeance. I showed the world that a warrior's true strength is not in the battles he wins, but in the peace he makes afterward. Because of me, the Muslim world stood united when once it was broken. My dynasty, the Ayyubids, would rule for nearly a century after my death, ensuring that my vision lived on. Even my greatest rivals, the Crusaders, left the battlefield with a new understanding of honor. The name Saladin did not fade into history. It became legend. I did not fight for riches. I did not fight for glory. I fought for something greater. They called me a warrior, a conqueror, but I tell you now, I was a man of faith, a man of mercy, and above all, a man of destiny. My name is Saladin, and this is my story.